Alright, after the relative success of my most recent video, I've opted to make a video that has nothing to do with it. Instead, I'm going to be talking about the militaries of Luminaris and Ethralis, a uber-traditional knight slow-moving military, and a military that focuses on speed and magic use, as there's a war going on between them. I've made a subclass for each of these, and I'll cover those later in the video, but yeah, subscribe. Join in the Discord if you want to join in the world building. Starting off, Luminaris and Ethralis are both fairly standard nations of similar sizes, with Luminaris being slightly larger and Ethralis having more modern military experience. Ethralis having a focus on magic in their military means that they have to aim for fast resolution to individual battles. Luminaris knows this and already fields a very low amount of mages in their army, and has a focus on their heavily armored knights. Luminaris in conflicts will have to focus on outlasting and accepting their early casualties, with ambushes and mobility being Ethralis' main way to win victory in this war. Any knowledge beyond this is slightly spoilers for anyone in long-running campaigns of mine, but here we go. Ethralis was not prepared for this offensive war on their side, but Luminaris was slightly prepared without alerting the army. This mainly means that Luminaris has a larger stockpile of arms ready for the war. I am, however, unabashedly biased, as I want Luminaris to win, as Luminaris has my favorite color scheme and I've spent the most time on it. However, as I want the world to be living and breathing, and I don't just want my favorite to end up being the victor, I've decided to roll for it. And from now on, at the end of my videos, I'll be rolling to determine battle successes, including walls giving bonuses to the dice roll, and air support giving bonuses, and so on. Now that that's all covered, let's start breaking down the individual armies and their command structure. Ethralis is a mage-based army, with every individual unit having a mage leading it. The main infantry is known as Thornblades. They are fast, lightly armored units with a focus on poison and building up damage as fast as possible. The mages of these units are known as Rosebuds, and they have a focus on area denial and area damage. Multiple of these units is called a Rutel, led by a Fleurden, a mage of higher caliber than a Rosebud, who focuses on arcane divination and other spells that facilitate leading a Rutel, such as Arcane Eye, Arcane Battlement, which is a spell similar to Galder's Tower that allows for siege engines to be conjured temporarily atop a slightly raised platform. It is a unique, highly guarded spell of Ethralis. Any assembly of Rutels is called a Dendrel, and is led by a Roseguard, an agent directly of the High Mage of Ethralis. An assembly of Dendrels is known purely as an army, and it is commanded by the highest ranking Roseguard of the Dendrels. The subclass of the Ethralan military will be a Thornblade, a ranger subclass that benefits early in combat and gains abilities that fade in power over the course of combat. This will hopefully allow for a combat style matching the combat capabilities of the army as a whole. Luminaris has a military focused on defensive tactics, even in an offensive war. They will not take risks, and they will move slow, and wait for the enemies to make mistakes. Their units have multiple types of infantry in them. Every unit has one Crescent Warden to 2 Celestial Sentinels. They are a hybrid weaponry combatant with a focus on protecting the flank of the Sentinels. The Sentinels are the Knights of Luminaris, and beyond being a melee combatant, they are highly respected within Luminaris. Wardens wield spears and crossbows, made in the town of Arkest. The Knights protect the Wardens with a shockingly spread formation at the start of their combats, there being around 5 feet of space between each Celestial Sentinel. The army uses tactics that allow for the opposing forces to have weaker area of effect spells on them, with accurate Warden fire ideally taking out the spellcasters as the opposing forces attempt to close the gap to the Luminaris ranks. The Sentinels prepare by closing formation, allowing the Wardens to attack over top of the shields with their spears. These units are just simply called battalions, with multiple battalions being known as a siege, as battalions are never typically in the same place as one another unless it is an offensive purpose. A siege is led by a general who must be a Luminasari, a unique humanoid subrace of humans. Born in Luminaris, they have an aptitude for magic, and as such make excellent wizards, They excel at diplomacy as well, allowing for them to be excellent generals and leaders. Mages in the armies of Luminaris are auxiliary troops that hold no standardization of the type of magic they wield, or the strength of magic they wield. Mages who join the nation's military have the same initial training, but beyond that, they are taught very little extra, and it is expected of them to further their own magical expertise. They are granted free admission to the Shiara Academy, and are allowed to further their magical progression through that. The Sentinels of Luminaris are renowned for their stalwart defensive lines, and through their subclass, I hope to evoke that feeling of being an immovable wall. Alright, now, for the first battle of the war. It's going to be taking place outside of Xentrae. The battle is of equal strength forces. However, as Ethralis is the defender in the war, they will roll an additional dice. Their forces are only partially prepared, and not suited for a defensive war. As such, I'm tempted to give them disadvantage, but I don't think they'll be particularly accurate. Instead, I'll give them a modifier. Luminaris will be rolling a d20 for their main forces, adding 5 to the roll, as they are a normal-sized force at full strength. Ethralis will be rolling 2 d20s, essentially advantage, and adding 3, as they are on defense, and not a defensive-focused army. They get less added to their d20 rolls, as well as what I stated earlier, them not being prepared for this war. Alright, the first roll for Luminaris is a 18. Ethralis has rolled 2 7s, leading to Luminaris winning the battle with a total of 23 versus Ethralis' 10. This battle victory means that Luminaris has pushed Xentrae into a siege, capturing the outer city and forcing a retreat of the populace into the walled portion of the city, which will be decided in the next video. Alright, the next thing to cover is the subclasses. The Ranger subclass of Thornblades has a 3rd level ability known as Quick to Kill. After the Thornblade rolls initiative, they get +3 to attack rolls and +1d6 weapon damage. If you do bludgeoning, it's bludgeoning damage. Their other 3rd level ability is known as Cooperative Fighting. This gives them an additional weapon dice to damage if an ally is within 5 feet of them and the target of their attack. At 7th level, a Thornblade gains the ability to stand out from others in the formation, becoming a Rosebud. Their 7th level ability here is known as Rose's Thorns. This gives the Thornblade the ability to pierce through armor that they wouldn't otherwise be able to. Once per short rest, a Thornblade can guarantee a hit after they were told if the attack hits or misses. The Thornblade's 11th level ability, known as Thorns of the Queen, gives the Thornblade the ability to attack the opponent, just damage them, up to a range of 30 feet, making a ranged weapon attack against the opponent as a thrown dagger shoots from your free hand. If it hits, it deals 1d4 plus your dexterity modifier as damage. It is not a reaction, and you can do as many of them per turn as you would like. The 15th level ability of the Thornblade Ranger is known as Roseguard Initiate. The Thornblade has grown in strength. They gain an additional 2 uses of Rose's Thorns, as well as Quick to Kill now gives a +5 bonus to attack roll and an additional weapon dice of damage, instead of a 1d6, as well for the first 5 turns of combat rather than first 3. Overall, I feel the subclass accomplishes the things I set out for it to do, and to be good at combat initially. Strive off of companions being near and to hit hard and hit fast. Next is the subclass of Celestial Sentinel, a fighter subclass. Their 3rd level ability is known as Stalwart Soldier. The Celestial Sentinel is a immovable force on the battlefield, and as such, they are unable to be forcibly moved, unless they allow for an ability to forcefully change their position. At 7th level, they gain the ability Celestial Defense. As an action, a Celestial Sentinel may grant opponents advantage on attacks against them, but they gain resistance against all types of damage until the start of their next turn. Their 10th level ability, Shield of the Moon, allows the Sentinel to shield their allies. As a bonus action on their turn, a Celestial Sentinel can choose an ally within 30 feet and shield that ally in shimmering light, protecting them from all damage until the start of your next turn. At 15th level, a Celestial Sentinel gains the ability Moonlit Sentinel. When an opponent deals damage to you, Before resistances are applied, you may use a reaction to deal that much damage to the attacker, up to 3 times per day. At 18th level, the Celestial Sentinel has grown to be incomparable on the battlefield. A Celestial Sentinel gains advantage on saving throws against spells and magical effects, and they cannot be critically hit. A stalwart class for sure, but hopefully it's not too OP. I want to see some people play it first, but honestly, numbers-wise, it doesn't seem that OP. You know, I hope some people play it so I can see how it plays, but moving on. Anyways, I hope this video was enjoyable for you all. Do all the YouTube things like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, cry a bit inside, check out the Patreon to join in the play-by-post game, check out the World Anvil and the Discord where we talk about all this stuff. Anyways, peace. Have a good one.